Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Two Shores, One Story. I'm your host, Matthew. How are you today? Are you dealing with the heat wherever you are? Maybe it's not that hot. In Japan, it is getting warmer, at least where I am, and I can kind of feel that mushiatsui coming in, that humid hot coming in, and not liking it that much. Unfortunately, I'm on a diet, or I would have had an ice cream today or a milkshake, but because I'm on my diet, I can't do that. But if you aren't on a diet, or you don't even care, please have something cold this week, because it is getting hot. Oh my goodness. But I didn't want to talk about the weather today. I wanted to talk about something else. Actually, I have a little bit of a public service announcement for you all, because I have experienced something this month that I wanted to talk about. So, I want to set the scene. You are me. You've been in Japan before, but you've never gotten a car or car insurance before, and including your time in Canada or wherever you are, you have not had to touch car insurance. You've driven a car a little bit, but you've never had to touch car insurance. And you're in a new country again. You have to get a car. You have to get a car insurance. You trust the place that you're getting it from because you don't know anything else. And you don't think to look at your car insurance or compare it with other car insurances, with other brokers or companies, until you talk to your friend one day and just say, like, yeah, I'm spending this much money on my car insurance. And then they're like, huh? And you are like, oh no. That was what happened to me. I came to Japan as an ALT about 2.5 years ago. And, I just was like worried about driving. I wasn't so worried about the car insurance. But recently I found out that my car insurance is quite expensive in comparison to other car insurances. So, if you are finding that your budget is a little bit tight, that's always me. Every month I have some issues, and especially, I had a great time in Sendai and all that stuff, but my budget is paying the price. And, I'm always trying to be careful about the little things, but there's also some big expenses that we have every month that we might not even think about. So, I want to walk you through the process of what I did. Today is May 18th, the day of recording this, and today I went to the company that I first got my car insurance at, and I have signed to cancel it. So, hooray for that. My friend, thank gosh that I was talking to him about my insurance and stuff, because I didn't know, but he has directed me on what to do, so I want to share it with you. So, first of all, look at your insurance. It might be great. It might be fine. But for me, my insurance was quite high, and I found that if I went through a different company that my friend suggested, I could pay a much lower price than what I am currently. So I went through a company called Sompo Otona Jidosha Hoken. So that's Sompo Adult Car Insurance. And it's an online, you can set it up online, which is quite helpful. And it is in Japanese, but you can use ChatGPT if you need to do all that kind of stuff that you, like, whatever. There's a few things you have to fill out, and it's pretty detailed, which is good. Other places might not be as detailed. So I felt like I was getting a pretty accurate quote when I started. So that is something to look into. There are other car insurance places for sure, but I did look at another one, but it didn't ask me about my grade level. So in Japan, there is a grade level depending on how good of a driver you are, or what if you get into accidents and that kind of stuff. So if you get into an accident, or you do something pretty serious like what I did, if you want to know what happened, you can listen to earlier podcasts on that. It's Tires and Tribulations. The first one I have talked about my accidents, but that one I had to pay. I took my insurance out to pay for that, and my grade went from a 6, which is I think neutral, to a 3. And I was able to put that into Sompo, so it knows and it has that information in it. The other one I looked at did not have any questions about accidents or whatnot, so I was kind of skeptical about it. So I ended up just going through Sompo adult insurance. So you just fill all that information out, and you can pick, which is what I like. The one that we were given at the first place when we first got here, we were given 3 options, but we couldn't really customize everything that we wanted. But with this online one, there was more leeway with that, so I was able to pick how much, if I wanted a lawyer, for example, which I ended up going with because it's always good to have a lawyer. I was able to, just there's a lot of customizable things when you do your online insurance versus going into a company in person, blah, blah, blah. So that was also a good thing. So I picked everything that I wanted, and still, even with I picked a pretty good amount of stuff, and I had my friend's guidance who knew more about the insurance stuff than I did. But even with that, my cost was extremely low, or not extremely low, but much better for me in comparison to what I would be paying, or what I was paying at the other place that will not be named. So I think I might have a I forget. No. So I don't remember the exact amount, but the amount that I have been paying was 24,760 yen, and that's every month. And what I would be paying now, I don't remember the exact amount, but it's probably 15,948, I believe. So that is much better than what I would be paying. That's way better, hey? I think so. It's roughly 8,812 yen. That's about $80 difference. But that's me. That's my case, because I did have insurance. But if you haven't had crazy, if you haven't had any accidents, then you could be potentially paying 8,000 yen per month. That is insane. And it could be that. It could be way lower than what I'm paying. So I encourage you to look at your quotes if you can. You could be paying way less than what you are now. And actually, I thought I would have to fight to change my insurance, but I just called and I said I want to change it, and they were actually really good about it. They're like, yes, you can. And they did give me a warning. So I want to give this warning to you. If you did have an accident like me, my insurance, my grade hasn't changed yet. So after a certain amount of time, your year, it will change. I think every year it should change, but apparently not. So my grade is still a 3. And if I change my insurance now, my grade will remain a 3 until the next year. And it will go up to a 4 after that. If I waited until August, that's when I signed my insurance, it would increase by a 4. But currently, I'm more worried about finances than I am about the grade. I've become a much better driver. I only got into that accident, my first time driving, within 3 or 4 days of me being in Takayama. So I was less concerned about the grading. But if that is a concern for you, please do keep that into consideration. And that is your discretion to do that. I'm not going to say what is better for you. For me, it was finances. So I wanted to pay less money than what I'm doing. So I said I'll do that. And then I don't pay. And there might also be some stipulations that are unexplainable in the moment. So that's what happened today, actually, because I picked the date that I would cancel and have my new insurance come in. And I was trying to be strategic about it because I pay, every 26th. Every 26th, I pay my insurance. But, so before that, I would cancel my insurance. I was thinking that I wouldn't have to pay, but there are some stipulations that I do have to pay for the next month. So also do keep that into consideration that you might have to pay. Or if you have more time, look at the fine print. Maybe ask them the questions like, if I cancel by this time, do I have to pay? Because I have to pay, unfortunately. It's a little bit frustrating, but it's okay because I can afford it. And then I'm done with using insurance from that, the first company. Yeah, that is basically it. So I guess just to end, yeah, look at your insurance. Look at your big, what's it called? Expenses. And maybe ask like, oh, is there a way to do this cheaper? Because there actually might be. Don't take things for granted like what I did, like, oh, I think this is okay, I don't think I can change it. But you can change the insurance. Like, why not? You can get your own car. I did that. I got that done. I just had to change my insurance. That's the only thing I had to do. There might be other things, that I want to change. Like maybe I can have a cheaper internet plan or blah, blah, blah. So I need to look at that. And then that way I can save more money in the long run. But yeah, that was a little insurance PSA for you. I hope that you have great insurance. If you don't, maybe consider looking at Sompo. Maybe if you have any questions, please let me know. I can answer them on Instagram. I am most active there. Yeah. And that will be it. So I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you later.